Hi friends, it's Donna with AK Gal Stamps, and I'm in my craft room today, and we are going to make a couple projects that go together. I'm making a card and a gift bag, and so I thought we would do this today. So I'm using the Regal Winter 12 by 12 paper. So I've got 2 sheets of 7 by 9.5 for the bag that we're going to make, and then I've got some squares that I cut up, so we're just going to make like a quilt card. So I use Blackberry Bliss. It's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. I have a piece of berry burst that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I have embossed it with, what's the name of this, with the distressed tile embossing folder, and I've also embossed these 1 1/4 squares with those as well, just to give a little bit of color to it. So one of the things I'm going to do to just add a little bit more color to it is to add just a little bit of ink. Use my blending brush. I want to add just a little bit of ink to this to get it not so stark white. So hopefully it's probably going to be a little more than I wanted, but just try a little bit. Not going to be consistent because this is kind of a worn embossing folder. Some areas don't have much on them and some have a lot. It's just a neat little folder. I really like it. See how it does it? It doesn't emboss everything really deep. It's just kind of a worn look. But this is the first thing I'm doing, and then I'll clean up my mat. So there's that. And I can cover this up. This is a cool little card. Really very easy to do. I do have a chamois for this, but then that means I have to wash it, so, or take care of that, so get all that off there. So I've got, where are my card measurements? There they are. So these squares are 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. I have 2 different colors that are going to go on top of each other, but they're going to overlap like this. Okay. We're kind of going to go for a pinwheel design, but a quilt design. Neat little card. Great for scraps. I probably shouldn't have put that ink so much, because what I want to do is I want to try and give equal triangles all the way around. I think that looks good. We can put this on here. I embossed this with the same embossing folder. When you're using embossing folders, I recommend using liquid glue so it gets into some of the cracks of your embossing folder and hopefully will stick better. That's just a little tip for me. So that's on there. And then we're going to glue this on. Like this. Move it over just a little bit. Just a little bit. I think that is straight. Very pretty. Love this paper. And so what I'm going to do on the very first square, I'm not going to do it all the way down because I'm going to need to have access to the one corner. I'm just leaving a skimpy 1/16 to an 1/8 inch border. So all the other ones I can glue well. And so then I'm going right here. So I got 4 of these 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 squares. Simple card, guys, just simple. But I wanted it to coordinate with the bag, and to tell you the truth, I was having a hard time finding 2 sheets of 7 by 9.5, so I didn't want to use up a big sheet for a card, so I thought, well, let's just use scrap. So that's what I'm doing here. I like the wild wheat, but it did not go with the other side to me. So, yep, so I am just carefully putting these in place. Like this. I hope your New Year's Day was good. We didn't do anything on New Year's Eve, just watched the boob tube and did some crafting yesterday, but you know, we just chilled. Now this is the one that you need to leave. Please don't tell me I glued the wrong thing up. Oh no, I did. I'm good. You want to leave this corner free so you can put this underneath the flap. So this is going to go like, if I can get it in there. Am I going to get it in there? I think so. Like that. And then glue this corner over. Now you just want a little bit of glue on this side initially. So that is glued. And we'll put like a dimensional or something right there for that corner. So there's that. So what are you drinking today? So this is Friday that this has come on. I'm drinking some coffee with my creamer. I'm pretty picky about my coffee. Don't hate me, but I'm not a Starbucks fan. Not at all. So I've got a strip here that I thought maybe we will stamp on. I didn't get the designer paper that went with this, but I really like this. So this stamp set will be new, coming out on July 7th. It's Julie Davidson's $1 Million stamp set. As a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, when you reach $1 million in sales, you get to go for a nice getaway weekend to Utah, and one of the perks is you get to design a stamp set. And this was hers. She made her $1 million last year. And this is with you in mind. This comes out on July 7th. Nice big sentiments. Just really like it. Hopefully, will that fit? I think it will fit. I think it will fit. But that's one of the perks. You get to do all kinds of neat things with the CEO and the president, Sarah and Shelley. Very cool. So I've got a long ways to go, but that's okay. I'm working on it. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Pierce mat because this is a polymer, excuse me, a polymer stamp set, which means it's clear. It doesn't have like a foam backing like a rubber stamp does. So I'm going to use this mat to help get a better impression. I'm using Blackberry Bliss ink. And I'm just going to bring it over here. Let's see. Hopefully I did that straight. I hope. That looks good. That looks good. Okay, I would like to have some scrap paper around so that I can stamp off some ink before I use my little chamois to clean this off a little bit. I do have a Stampin' Scrub, which I do like a little better. It does better for all the nooks and crannies, but I do use my little mat. It's very filthy, because I use it well. Just trying to get as much off. When you use pinks, reds, purples, they do stain your stamp, but it does not affect it. It does not affect it. Just trying to make sure I get as much off as I can. I'm gonna put that back in the box. Like Jack in the Box, but back in the box. So there is that. And I wonder if I have, I don't know if that'll fit in one of my little edges here, but we shall see. I don't know. I think that's too thick. I think that's more than an inch. Yeah, it is. Could I trim it? Is that possible? I don't think so. Not small enough. But I would really like to get that to go in here. But I know that I've done, like if it's too big, I can wing it. I don't think I can. I'm trying, but I think I'm going to damage it too much. But I am going to cut this edge at any rate. Like that. See, I really think that that's just a little bit too much for that spot. So I'm just going to try and trim a little bit off on the top. Can I take 1/8 of an inch off? I think so. Wonder if that'll make it a little bit better. Oh, I could put it like that though. Hey, that works. That works. And I'm going to use a little bit of ink that I have still on my blending brush. Put that on there just to add some color. Because it's so bright. The white is just so bright. Just too much. So that is just nice and cheery. If I had something really small, I could put it like right there over the center, but I'm not going to do that. So I am just going to use my liquid glue. And put this on the card with this nice big sentiment. Like this. There's that. I need something for the middle, right? I'll wipe that off so I don't get it on anything white. I am wondering what I could use. Ooh, I wonder if these birds would fit. Or a butterfly. I don't know if that's big enough to fit or not. Is it? Let us see. Take one of the big ones. No, that's too big. Too big. I will have to think about that and see if I have something that is big enough. I know I have some really big ones, but I don't think they're the right color. That is my issue, is having the right color. Yeah, I don't think those are big enough either. I made a little bit of a big hole there, huh? Well, I will have to figure out something. I wonder if these little, I never even used these. Got these for Christmas time. I think these might fit. These white ones. This cluster. I think that'll work. Yeah, that works. That is good. That works for that. And then, of course, we need a piece that is, that's too big. This piece. I think that's too big too. Let's see. Okay. That will go in the center. That's, looks like that's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. We're going to put this aside because we're going to work on the big project now. Made the sweet little card. So these two panels, you have to have two matching panels. They're 7 by 9.5. Okay, that's what you've got to have, is two matching panels, or it will not look right. Okay, I'm just moving everything out of my way so I can bring out, I like my score pal for consistent scoring because I'm not very consistent. They don't, Stampin' Up! Sells these, they're awesome. They come with little arrows that you can put up here to mark if you're doing a lot of scoring, but that's where your measurements are, right up there. So we are going to do several different scorings, and they have a score pen. I'm using the broad tip for designer series paper so I don't poke a hole in it, as opposed to this narrow one. Can you see it? Yeah. So I'm using the broad tip. On the 7-inch, which is the skinnier inch, we're going to score at 1/2 inch, 5.5, and 6 1/4. And you're going to be doing these on both papers. Okay. Then I'm turning it to the 9.5, and this is going to be the top of your bag, and this is the bottom. The top has a 3 3/4 inch score line, and then an 8. So there's one panel that has all of its scores, and we'll burnish those in a minute. But I'm going to go do the second panel, exact same size. 7-inch is 1/2 inch, 5.5, and 6 1/4. And dog hair everywhere. Now we're going to the 9.5 inch side, and this is the top of your bag. We're doing 3/4 inch and 8. And that's all your cutting and scoring for right now. I'm going to put this aside. This is a cool bag. I think it is big enough to fit a stamp set. Am I correct? Well, it can barely fit a stamp set. Barely. It's about the size of a stamp set. But it's a nice little bag. Okay, so now we're going to burnish all the score lines. Got to get those nice and scored so they will fold well. Love this paper. It's in the annual catalog. Has some beautiful florals and some very neutrals on the opposite side. Okay, there's this. 3/4 inch side. This is the bottom, the wide spot. The narrow is the top. So if you have directional paper, that's really important. So we're just scoring this. Trying to get some good creases. This is just a nice size little gift bag. So we've got our two pieces. You've got the wide panel at the bottom, wide panel bottom. Top is the narrow. You have two score lines on one side and one on the other. Now the one on it's all by itself, and it's only a 1/2 inch. That's the one we need to put tear and tape on. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to start from below the first score line at the top. Okay. And then I'm going down to where the second score line, or the big score line, sorry, the big score line starts. You're just going in between these two score lines, putting tear and tape on both pieces. So there's this piece. There's a score line for the 3/4 inch. And then there's a score line for the 8. Okay, so there's those. So we got those. Now I need some scissors. And we're going to cut. Actually, it's easier for me if I turn it over because I can see the score line better, but I'm taking this off and this off, just giving a tiny bit of a miter, and I'm cutting on the opposite side of the score line so I get that bump out. There's that. Now we're going to just cut this. This one has the what is it, 5, 5.5, and 6 1/4 that we did. You're just going to cut at this inside score line because this is going to be a flap. The whole piece is going to be a flap, okay? And go around, and this side is, I think going to be yes, this is going to be a flap too. This is just so this will fold over better. Because this is the top. This is your top panel. Okay. So we will cut off the single ones on the 1/2 inch side. This is the ones we're just cutting off. We don't need those. And this one, these are going away. And then I'm just cutting this for a flap. Actually, you could wedge it just a little bit. This is your bottom flap. So just to cut that off a little bit. And this we're keeping, just doing a little bit of a wedge. I should have done that in the beginning. Done just a teeny wedge, not a big one. Just don't want it bulky. The wedging is just so you don't have too much bulk. Okay, so we have this, right? So these are going to go together with the same width. You've got this 3/4 inch up at the top, right? So these are going to attach like this. So it'll make your bag. Pretty easy, right? Not too hard. So I'm going to take that off. And I'm going to line this up to that score line like that. So we press that, and then we have to connect the other way to make our bag close up. It doesn't perfectly fold over, so I am just lining this up. Some things you can just line up so well. This one doesn't quite. It does, but it doesn't. So there is your, got your bag, okay? And these right here, these score lines, the 5.5 and the 6 1/4, they're just going to go in like this, you know, like a gusset. Just going to go in like that. Okay. Now, this flap that is 3/4 inch, I glued this down. I folded it over so you had the, I don't like that side though, but it is what it is. If I think about it, I could maybe, no, I couldn't. I was going to think maybe I should put like a white piece on here, because I just don't like that color. But this is just, I'm just folding this over, flap at the top. This one we're folding over. This one we're folding over. Just making that little flap for the bag. And this, and I'll press more on this. Just want to get the glue all on. Just pressing this to make sure that this adheres. Okay, now this one, we are going to put your flaps in, okay, like that. Put some glue on it. And then put a flap down, and then put glue this way. And put that down. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and just stick it down in there. My bag is almost as high as my camera, so I am just putting my bone folder down there and pressing everything in, okay? So now we have a bag, but we're missing straps. So I'm gonna use, I don't even know what this is called. It's We Are Memory Keeper, but it does holes. It does holes. One side's big, one side's bigger. But you have to make sure that this doesn't go into this, so I have to lift this up pretty high so I can make my holes. Like that. And then I'm going to put the other one in, but see, I got to make sure I have this lifted up so that the other side doesn't punch a hole too. Like that. Okay, and then we'll turn it over and do the same thing. And then this one. Okay, so there's that. And then I need some ribbon. I just need a little bit of ribbon. What color can we use? We could use that Blackberry Bliss that came out in the Fall Mini Catalog. I think we'll use this. Blackberry Bliss, very pretty. And I generally measured all the way around the bag to get an idea of how long I wanted the ribbon. Excuse me. Got a cough. Okay, and then I'm going to cut a second one, the same size. There'll be more trimming. But oh, this ribbon is so pretty. So pretty. I think it's still on the last chance list, which was the clearance, but now it's last chance. So I bring that through the hole, and I'm tying a double knot to keep it through that hole. You can do a smaller hole if you want to do smaller stuff, but you still are going to need to have, whoops, that came out. You're still going to need to tie a knot to keep your ribbon in place. And I tie double knots because these are kind of big holes because I've used different sizes of ribbon to do my bags, but they do have a smaller hole, but that's more for twine, I believe. So you got that hole. Nope, see, it'll come right out. We need to do a third hole. See if we can do a third knot, not a third hole, third knot. Oh, I should have put that. That's got to be in there. Jeez Louise. Yeah. So that's like that. And then we'll put this in the other hole. If I could get it in there. Come on now, go in there. There we go. Okay, so I need to do like 3 knots. 3 knots. So this will stay in, but you're getting the idea, right? Lose you. Don't want to lose this because we got to keep the handle. So anybody make any resolutions this year? I generally don't do resolutions because I never stay with them. Want this to go right there, so it's got to be right there. big knot. Okay, so now we have a handle. Okay, there's one handle. You're going to do the exact same thing for this one. So then you'll have your bag done. So we have the bag and the card to go. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do like it, please give me a thumbs up and like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. It really helps my channel and helps my little business grow. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ohio, and I come to you on Fridays. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you on my Facebook page, AK Gal Stamps, on Monday night. Bye.